Welcome back to the Homes on Homes podcast. I'm Mike Holmes. I started this podcast to keep educating people on how to make it right, just like I've been doing for over 20 years on television. Here, you'll find raw, unscripted conversations with experts on building healthy homes, choosing quality products, safety at home, and more. Let's get started. Hi everyone, today is a very important subject for me today. This is Homes on Homes podcast, and this is about the construction labor shortage. This is a pain in my rear like you have no idea, and I know that everyone else out there has the same problem. We have JT from True Build Custom Homes, and he's really good. He's been with us for about 4 years now. We have my son, Michael Holmes. He has an attitude, he has a point, and we're gonna talk to him too.
This is my first time on your podcast.
You know what? I don't know why it's your first time on my podcast.
I don't know either. I feel like, we had this talk. We're like, you should do a podcast, and then it's like a year and a bit later.
Is this because you were at home doing your gardening?
No, that was on the weekend. But,
that was on the weekend.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe. Who knows? But here we are. That's the important thing is we're here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
JT, you've noticed the shortage in trades. It's just like nobody seems to want to work anymore. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. In the last year and a half, we've uncovered quite a few issues with labor shortage. There was a very interesting article that came out recently from the Business Development Bank that had basically interviewed a whole bunch of companies asking about the labor shortages. And what they're saying is after all these interviews, they're looking at the shortage for the next 10 years, the next decade, we're going to have the shortage. There's just not enough people looking to work full-time, number one, don't have the skill set, number two, and number three, basically, they're just not aware of what's going on right now. And us as the contractors are getting the worst end of it. So.
Okay. I have been running companies since I was 19 years old. And Mike, what's the math on that? How old am I?
29
times two.
So you've been in business about 10 years, give or take 30 years.
No, it's actually 40 something.
That's why I say give or take 30 years.
About 40 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time. At that time, we were hugely short in skilled trades. And I think it had a lot to do with moms and dads. The dads that were in the construction trade, let's move backwards first. The dads that were in the construction industry, they were trying to tell their kids, I don't want you to get in the trades. My back is broke, my knees are gone, I'm working morning till night, go be an IT, go be a doctor, get into something other than the trades. So that many years ago, moms and dads telling their kids not to get into the trades was a downfall. I'm in school, and in school, I took welding, I took sheet metal, I took carpentry, and this was all in grades 6, 7, and 8. Schools pulled that because they were trying to save money. That was the biggest downfall the government has ever done, was pull it out of the schools because they're pulling out the temptation for the young. Would you agree, Mr. Holmes?
100%. I mean, I was fortunate enough to go to a high school that did have some of these programs. They had construction tech, they had woodworking, but I don't think there's
in
enough.
6, 7, and 8?
No, I'm talking high school.
I know, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, 6, 7, and 8. No, that's not even. It's not even talked about. I think we've talked about this time and time again. We were already facing a shortage in the construction industry, in the skilled trades industry as a whole, and then the past year and a half. I mean, we are talk about the next 10 years. We're going to have a problem for a long time until we address the root cause. And I think one of the root causes is chasing money. People saying you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be something where you get paid a lot of money. And we're not looking at it as doing what you love. Maybe working with your hands. Working with your hands, getting your hands dirty is not a bad thing. I'm fortunate enough to have a father in the trades who encouraged me.
Yeah.
He might say he forced me.
Oh, no, it was attempted. It was throw money at him.
He threatened you, basically.
Yeah,
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you brought up in regards to chasing the money. I just recently had a incident that happened in my business where I had 3 guys that have been working with me for the last number of years. 2 were best friends, and the 3rd guy was part of the company. And with a 5-day notice, basically, saying we're leaving and we're starting up shop.
We're opening our own business.
Exactly. So now we have every guy that owns a $70,000 truck goes to Home Depot, fills up his truck with some tools, calls himself a contractor, throws me out of the bidding process because he never knows how to bid the process.
Yep.
And then obviously when things go wrong, all the contractors get the heat.
Yeah.
You're a contractor. Oh, this is what this guy did to me last time. Well,
So
we're not that guy.
This is a really good point, because what we need to do is continue from approximately 40 years ago, because years before that, everyone was in the trades. Everyone was in the trades. We were making money. The country was being built. As time went by, attitudes changed in the next generation. And I don't want to say that they were spoiled, they were too cocky. I want to say more that opportunity became. In other words, they would work for people like JT, myself. And I've experienced this 6 months working with me. I would teach them everything. I'd make them work from morning till night, just like I did. And all of a sudden, they were pros, and they wanted to get a business card and open their own business. Big mistake, big mistake. And the only reason I say that's a big mistake is you cannot learn enough in 6 months in the industry. It's just not going to happen. This takes years. Sure, you've tempted. You've played with drywall. You played with framing. You played with structure. You're in there with a little bit of trimming. That doesn't give you enough experience to go on your own, open a company with insurance, and now take on the battle of dealing with clients that believe they know what they want, but you don't know how to tell them what they need. That was one problem. We can move further. The next problem, well, the first one was pulling it out of school. Second problem is what I just talked about. The third problem that I really started to see, nobody wanted to work from morning till night anymore. Like I'll work 9 to 5, I'll work 8 to maybe 5. Mike, how many hours have I worked in my life?
I mean, I stopped counting, I think, when I was like 8 or so. But, you know, all joking aside, when I was a kid, you know, our parents separated, and I remember it was, we'll see Dad every second weekend. I remember my dad struggling to get that time off because he owned his own business. So struggling to take that time even to just see us. So what you knew was work. And, you know, I think there is a discussion to be had about that work-life balance. But I also think that for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it was the technology industry, you know, video games, computers, internet, all that came up on the rise within my generation. I mean, I saw that, you know, cell phones, everything happen where people were like, I wanted to get into tech, where that didn't that wasn't a thing before. So I think there was this interest of, you know, combination of what you said before, where my knees hurt, my back hurts, don't get into the trades. Here's another option where there's going to be a lot of money in the future. And I feel like that was also a big draw for people, saying like, you don't have to hurt your back. You don't have to work crazy hours anymore. You can get into tech. And now we're seeing the result of that is a labor shortage, material prices skyrocketing. We're having a hard time keeping up with the demand.
Right.
Yes, everything you said is 100% valid and true. And as we continued into the years later, what has happened, COVID didn't help us at all. COVID actually harmed us in so many different ways. So let's talk about how it shut us down from the house. Material prices soared through the roof month after month after month. We were told by the government, you can only have so many people in the house. So that's electricians wouldn't come in when the plumbers are in. Plumbers wouldn't come in when the carpenters. Now this caused an influx in price. The downside to this is to all of you homeowners out there are paying for this. You're paying for the increase of the wood. A lot of this, to me, I don't want to call it excuses. I get it, we were in a pandemic. I get it that we're learning from shit that's happened. Did I say that out loud?
It's your podcast, I think you're okay.
We're learning from what's becoming the new norm. CERB stepped in, which I think the government, I want to congratulate them on that, was that they tried to save, you know, the country. We know the United States did similar effects of this. The idea was to help people not go bankrupt, not lose their homes, not lose their jobs. Downside, right now, because CERB is still out there until October, I believe it's even now passed for a further date, they want to stay home and make that money and not work. And don't tell me you're not seeing that.
Absolutely. It's all because of that CERB. In my instance, when this all started off originally, and I was getting an influx of calls. And I'm like, what's going on here? Why am I getting all these calls for renovations all of a sudden? Where's all this money coming in from? And I happened to ask one of the clients and ask him, honestly, where did you come up with this money from all of a sudden? He goes, there's 5 people at home at $2,000 a pop. All 5 of us are working part-time on cash. We're making more money than we ever did before.
Right.
So here we are. Can you please do our renovation for us?
Now, just
Right.
so you know, the government has already warned everyone prior that if we find out you are screwing the system, you will pay the piper. And those who did, you will pay the piper. It's a shame because what that has done is harmed all industries. Restaurants, they can't seem to get waiters, waitresses. I mean, this has hurt every single industry. Okay. I want to start talking about things that we can do about this. First of all, my son, Michael, me, my daughter, Sherry, she represents women in the trades. We are the ambassadors to Skills Canada and World Skills. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the biggest thing the world has ever done besides the Olympics. And I still do not understand why it is not televised, why I have been unsuccessful in creating a television show around world skills. And I promise you, I'm not going to stop until I do. If you like the show, check out the episode page on makeitright.ca for more tips. Listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.